Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport. My name's Dan Davis, and I'll be bringing you all the action here once again for the final time this season. We're live at Donington Park for our season finale. We are back once again to crown a champion one more time for the Pro-Am drivers. What a season it's been. It has been absolutely chaotic. It's been chaos with servers, with ACC just being an absolute bum this season, but nonetheless it has been an exciting season for the Pro-Am boys. It's really been exciting to watch, and it has come down to this final race. It is down to 2 for the championship, and the constructors is done and sealed for Q Motorsport. The drivers of Sam, Greaves and Fandango have won the Constructors' Championship. They are Constructors' Champions in the Lexus, and a massive congratulations to them. But it's down to this man, who's currently fastest of the session and second in the championship, hunting down the leader of the championship, which has been Langley all season long. It is down to these boys, Langley and Vitus, for the title. Who's going to win it? That is the question. There's obviously a little poll in the chat. Who do you think is going to win the title? Is it going to be Langley or is it going to be Vitus? It's going 50-50 at the minute. It can go either way. It could be either driver, but who knows as well. Anyone can come out on top of this one. So like I said, that is your championship standings. That's what we are really looking at this evening. Let's hear you guys in the chat. I've got 10 people watching the stream. Let's hear you for the final time this evening. Let's get a chat going on here. But this is your championship standings. It's Langley who leads the way with Vitus in second. Greaves is in third and Wolski in fourth place. Fandango is just behind and can overtake him in that P5 position. Flores in P6 with Unsworth in P7, Varga P8, P9 is Aberdeen, while Craig is P10. Gabino is in P11 with Argent in P12. Saunders sits 13th with Williams in 14th. 15th is Lee with Taylor sat in 16th place position. Then we got the battle of the bronze. It is between Rob Smith and Archer for overall bronze win. We will see who will come out on top of that one. Richie sat 19th with Waste in 20th. 21st is Johnson. Leach in 22nd. Betterson in 23rd with Atherton in 24th. Bell 25th. The Block 26th. Tucker 27th. KLF in 28th. And you will see him in a red number. He should not be in a red number. He should be silver. We didn't get time to change that correctly, and because he's done so little rounds, that's why it's not been corrected. So that does need fixing for next season. Best is 29th in the championship. Dennis Williams in 30th. Wheel in 31st. Storick in 32nd. Bosch in 33rd. Marsden 34th. The Jackal in 35th. And Andrews rounding off the grid in 36th position. Your constructors, though, it has gone the way of 4Q Motorsport with Cloud9 sat P2, No Gas No Glory in P3 with SimPlay Racing in P4, Greasy Bandits P5, Team Auto Sport P6 with Team Merlot in 7th, Quantum Motorsport in P8 with Soldor Racing P9, NRL Racing is in P10 with Black and Blue Racing in 11th, 12th is Rapid Rabbits GT, with 13th for Team BSR. Lexi's Industry sits 14th with 2C's Racing in 15th. 16th is Team GBR, and OGR rounds off the grid in 17th place position. So like I said, guys, let's hear from you in the chat. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified. We have got Varga in the chat. Let's go with Ben Rook, one of your championship contenders for tomorrow night, in the chat as well, saying evening, everyone. Gary Clark saying evening and good luck. And sits chanting rain, 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 says Mike Matthews. There is rain lurking around, and we will see what will happen regarding that. But either way, it is going to be an exciting night's worth of racing. Guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you do not miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. It seems like a lot of BMWs that's out on track at the minute. There seems to be primarily BMWs, but we have got a Lamborghini of Gabino out there. So an interesting fight for the title and also for the bronze category as well. And at the minute, Smith is winning that fight right now. Audio Sport in the chat, evening to them. And like I said, guys, let's hear from you in the chat. It's finals time, and let's get this fun up and going. We're here at Donington Park, the final race, the home of SimPlay Racing, and like I said, an iconic circuit that we enjoy racing at every single season. It is our home. Obviously, majority of the drivers here at SimPlay have actually met at Donington Park. That's why it's the home of SimPlay Racing, and it's kind of like the middle ground for all of us here in the UK. Obviously now, due to SimPlay expanding worldwide now, which is great to see, we expect some talent to come from Europe and United States as well. Obviously, Langley being from America, and it's just growing more and more, which is what we love to see here at SimPlay Motorsport. Currently, though, coming to the end of this practice session, it is your championship contenders at the top, with Greaves sat there in P3, with Varga in P4, Craig looking good in P5, with Williams in P6, KLF starting in P7, with Bell in P8, Fandango 9th, and Wolfsky rounding off your top 10. And that is your championship. Well, that is the start of the practice session for your practice session, and Varga is currently out on track trying to find a little bit more time. Like I said, there is a very, very small chance of rain. The rain is lurking around. Apparently a couple of times the guys have been into the server and have been in and out, really just seeing what the weather's doing. It's been dry majority, and then there's been the one occasional heavy rain session. So the rain is there, and it could come at any point. I want to say also a massive thank you at the start of this stream, while I remember, to all the drivers in the Pro-Am category, probably the strongest category we've had all season. I thoroughly hope you enjoyed the entire season for racing it, and obviously re-watching back your races. I know from the start of the season it was very, very important for these guys to really get a good commentary, so I hope they do enjoy the show, and let's enjoy one more final race here at Donington Park for the final time this season for the Pro-Ams. It is going to be an exciting one, and I cannot wait to see who will be crowned champion. Is it going the way of the red McLaren, or is it going to go the way of the yellow Ferrari of either Vitas or Langley? Only fate will decide, and obviously it's not done for any other places. There's still loads of places to gain for drivers, and obviously people want to win the season on a high. They want to leave here thinking excuse me, that I've won the final race of the season, and take that momentum going into the new season as well. Tips in the chat. Good evening, good evening all, and good luck to all drivers. So, what is it going to come down to? Is it going to come down to the sprint? Is it going to come down to the feature, pit stops, tyre strategies, fuel strategies? These guys have, especially Vitas and Langley, they really have been different on strategies compared to the rest. And yeah, I think that it's going to really, I think the sprint's going to be the key one. I think whatever happens in the sprint, they'll go into the feature knowing that's the kind of cards they've drawn. They are pretty much the fastest of the group. They got 4/10 to the next closest car, which is Sam Greaves. And Sam could still be a headache. He still could be a problem. He obviously, like I said, want to finish the season on a high. He'll want to make sure that he gets the job done. Atherton in the chat, you will have to wait and see car I'm waiting next year. I might have a winning contender next season. Who knows? I'm not going to give anything away. I know I would like to say a massive thank you to the admin team and the commentators of the season this year, including you, Dan. Thank you very much, Phil, in the chat. Very kind words from yourself there. But with 20 seconds left to go, we're about to get ready for our first sprint race. And this is a quick run through of what the format is. We've done this 13 times this season. Well, I think it's actually 11 in the end. But it's been 13 weeks of the same thing. And it's going to be a sprint race for 15 minutes. A mandatory pit stop is required. They just have to come in, put in 1 litre of fuel, and off they go. And then once that is done, a small little practice session for the guys to recover, get a drink, go to the toilet, whatever they need to do. And then into the qualifying session, which is only 10 minutes. And then into the feature race, which is 70 minutes long. And after all of that, we will crown our champion here at Donington Park as we come to the end of the session. Lee is currently on a lap, and we also wait for Varga, who's at the far end of the circuit as well. So guys, hit that like button, smash that button, subscribe as well, and hit the bell to be notified. There are some fun events coming up very, very soon. It's either going to be a 4/6 hour endurance race at Watkins Glen. The circuit's confirmed, it's just how long we will decide. Probably within a day or two, and we'll get it posted out. We got the sprint, Porsche Sprint, which will be at the Red Bull Ring. GT2s, GT3s, and Supercar Cups will be all on circuit at once. And then we have the Old Classic Night, which will be old classic cars racing around the Nürburgring. As we come to the end of the session, Gary Leach does make it into the server, and it's an all-team BSR front row. I want to say also a massive thank you to our fantastic sponsors, which is Design Manchester and Audio Sport. Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing, and much, much more, including SimPlay merchandise. And Audio Sport as well. They are manufacturers of VW Transporter and T4 audio solutions and styling products. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk. Skunky in the chat, the man who was on fire last night, is in the chat, and he goes, "Where's the rain?" You ask me, mate. This is the British weather. God knows where the rain's gone. I was hoping for some rain, not just here, but also tomorrow night as well. But looks like there is no rain at this moment in time. Maybe in the future, we don't know. But we now wait for the drivers to get themselves organised and ready to go for the final sprint race of the season. And it's going to be KLF who will start on pole position here.
10 seconds.
Last chance for the guys to make their last tweaks and changes. Guys, don't go anywhere, because obviously next season we will have everything ready to go. We will have sign-ups ready. We will have everything ready for our brand new season. If you're a Patreon, please become a Patreon. And with that, you are able to then select the season as well, because the Patreons get to choose the calendar. Right, as the drivers pull away, let's get the grid order on display. I'm not sure why it's... there we go. It's now done it correctly. No, it hasn't. It's done it in a weird way, so we'll come back to that while I make the adjustment. I'm not sure why it's done it that way. Just make a quick tweak a minute to that. So guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. And we will now transition to the grid order, and it will look like this. It is going to be Williams and KLF who should be on the front row, but no Williams here tonight, so it is going to be KLF on pole position. Gary Leach will then start alongside him with Waste in P4. From there, it will be Lee and Williams in P5 and 6. P7 and 8 will go the way of Saunders and Argent. And then P9 will go the way of Craig and Aberdeen. P11 will go the way of Fandango, and P12 go the way of Wolski. And then you've got Sam Greaves ahead of your two championship contenders, Vitas in 14th and Langley in 15th place position. Gabino at the back. Then you've got Varga ahead of Storrock. Best ahead of Tucker. And then we got Bell and Atherton. Then we got Betterson and Archer. And then we got Smith and Taylor running to the back of the pack, because Taylor's not sure if he was going to make the start of this race. And the Jacko as well to the back, as the drivers now come into the final few corners here. That's the final sprint race of the season. There's a Team BSR front row. Who is it going to be? That is the question. It is McLaren versus Porsche on the front row of Kelly Davis and Gary Leach. who's it going to be? As we're about to get things underway, get your votes in on who you think is going to win this one. As we now wait for the final time for the sprint race, let's see who's going to come out on top as we wait for starters orders here at Donington Park. And we are green and go. Pit window opens straight away, and KLF with a poor start there. It's going to get jumped by Gary Leach, and up towards turn number 1 they go, and Gary gets the job done, and Lee not able to get past him either. As there, Williams just touches the curb a little bit too much, and off he goes, and there's absolute carnage in the back of the pack, but Langley and Vitus do get away with it, and Vitus already onto the back of the pack, but Gary Leach though with the jump ahead of Lee. And it's not the start that KLF would have wanted. Out of sync and out of position, and Gary Leach gets the jump and he leads here at Donington Park. KLF taking out most of the cones there as he come up towards McLean's and Coppice, and through Coppice they go. Wolfsky just onto the back of these guys as Varga now looking to attack on Vitus. Vitus needs to clear as many cars as he possibly can. He's now onto the back of Argent and is trying to get through the pack as quickly as he possibly can. Meanwhile, Fandango is on the move. He's now on the back of Aberdeen as the rest of the cars feed their way through. KLF goes wide and onto the grass. He has to move straight over to the inside to defend from Lee. But Gary Leach, though, is pulling away and getting the gap that he needed to get. Lee, meanwhile, I think has made contact with KLF. Yeah, he has. And KLF loses the back end. And through goes Lee. That was a bit of a push to pass from him. Meanwhile, Saunders is being attacked by Waste, and Waste goes too deep and goes wide, and KLF is going to have to sit behind Lee, and Gary Leach has disappeared into the distance. Meanwhile, Varga and Vitus straight into the pits, and Langley opts to stay out. That may not be the best idea for him as he's got to try and clear some traffic. But straight away, we are away and racing here at Donington Park, and there's already chaos. Meanwhile, further back, Storick is leading the bronze class, ahead of Tucker, ahead of Smith, and ahead of Archer. Atherton comes into the pits. Gabino was caught up in all that incidents as well. Wars Bell and also Greaves as well. So all the cars coming into the pits straight away. Oh, Gary Leach is gone off. Not sure what's happened there. Gary Leach coming to a stop. Possibly damage to his car or a wheel or something, but Gary Leach has come to a stop, and he's done for this one. Meanwhile, Lee is now leading the race, and KLF now trying to pull away from Saunders, Craig, Aberdeen and Wolfsky, Fandango, Langley, and then Waste. Argent dropping down the order. Your bronze category as well, Storick, Tucker, Smith, Archer and Gabino. Meanwhile, Smith is outscoring Archer to possibly win that bronze category as well, as we now head down towards the chicane. Meanwhile, Craig is on the move down the inside. Oh, contact there with Aberdeen and Saunders. They make contact, and around goes Fandango as well. He gets it spun round, but right into the path of Storick, and he's going to get himself in all sorts of trouble there. Meanwhile, KLF is now onto the move to try and hunt down Lee as quickly as he possibly can. Meanwhile, Langley has now opted to pit. Where is Vitus? There he is. He is quite a distance away from Varga, who didn't do his stop. Even though he did come into the pits, he didn't get the stop done. And where is Langley? Langley is in pit lane. How quick is his stop going to be? Vitus now comes into the final corner. Has Langley gone green? Not yet. He hasn't. And he's going to leave pit lane very shortly. But I think Vitus will have the job done. Yes, he will, into turn number 1. There is Langley. And opportunity goes to Vitus at the minute. Obviously, with that clean air, it's going to help him out massively to jump a lot of cars in front of him. As he now head towards the SimPlay straight, heading down towards the S's. Brian Craig now making it a McLaren 1, 2 and 3 at this moment in time. But these guys want to be cautious because the pitters have gone in early, and if they hang it out too long, they will get jumped by them. So down towards Melbourne hairpin we go. It's all relatively under control here. Aberdeen looking a little bit defensive there. Meanwhile, we've got Archer now having to defend from Gabino. Gabino's now coming up towards the Melbourne hairpin. He's going to send it up the inside. He's going to give it a good go. And he does indeed. Meanwhile, Best just behind these guys. Here comes Vitus. Langley has got Bell to try and clear. as quickly as he can. But Vitas doing everything right so far as your leaders continue on through. Gabino, though, now setting fastest lap of the race. And he is going to get himself an extra point there. I think, though, Vitas with the clean air is going to gain himself the fastest lap back. And yes, he does. So Vitas is on a charge. I do think the leaders, though, need to pit very, very shortly, though, because if they leave it too long, they will get caught out by Vitas. And that's how they've managed to do it all season. They've pitted early and just jumped everyone due to just getting the clean air and avoiding racing. Brian Craig now starting to bring the gap down to KLF and Lee. As they come down into the chicane. Brian Craig still ahead of Saunders with quite a healthy gap at the minute. Aberdeen still trying to stick with Wolski. Wolski, though, is a threat to keep an eye on towards the end of this race. Been very quick all season. Can he finish the season on a high? That's the question. A lot of the drivers now getting their stops done. As they head now down towards turn number 1. Once again, Brian Craig bringing the gap down to KLF even quicker now. 0.8 of a second separating them. And Saunders is going with him. Langley, meanwhile, has cleared Bell, because Bell pitted. And Varga has now come into the pits and served his stop. So right now, at the minute, Vitas is starting to catch onto the back of Best, which could get exciting a little bit later on. As Brian Craig also brings the gap down once again to KLF to 0.2 of a second, as Lee is pulling away out in front. 2.6 is the gap. KLF just seems to be struggling at this stage of the race. Craig is right there ready to... Oh, Lee's gone off! Lee has had a mistake. He's gone and he's ended up dropping down into the pack. Now Brian Craig is going to try and look to make a move on KLF as they head into the chicane. And Lee loses the lead of this race and KLF now takes the lead. And again, I'm pretty sure these guys will possibly get jumped as Craig now hits the back of KLF and around he nearly goes. And Craig giving him a boot up the backside there. And KLF goes back through. He goes too deep though, and he's really going to compromise his exit. And Brian Craig ends up in the wall. Lee ends up in the wall as well, and all cars facing the wrong way. And all this is doing is holding everybody up. And Wolski now could be on for a race win here, but I think again they're just holding each other up way too much. Here is Vitas, who's now into the final corner, and he's now got Best ahead of him, Langley's teammate. One driver he needs to keep an eye on, but it is KLF who still leads this race now after all the drama, after all the chaos. And Wolski now really hunting the back of that McLaren. Vitas now starting to catch Best. Archer meanwhile still outscoring Smith at the minute, but has not done his stop. And this mid-pack fight, as Bell's trying to out of order at the minute, goes a little bit wide. As they go down the SimPlay straight, here comes Waste to make a move on Brian Craig, but he's not quite close enough, has to back out of that one. And as a run through the chicane, Wolski meanwhile is attacking KLF. He's looking to the outside of Melbourne hairpin, and he's not going to get the job done there. And meanwhile, Vitas is on the back of Best. Is Best going to try and hold up Vitas as much as he possibly can to try and help his teammate. They head down towards Melbourne hairpin, and Best defends the inside. Wolski now pits, so does Argent and a few of the other guys in the pits as well. Waste as well. So all these guys opt in to pit on this lap, and Best meanwhile is really starting to hold up Vitas. But Best meanwhile goes a little bit wide. As Wolski, he's gone green, but is he going to stay ahead of Vitas? No, he's not. So Wolski and KLF at this minute is going to lose out to both Vitas and Langley at this stage. But Best doing everything he possibly can to hold up Vitas and he ain't going to do it there. And Vitas finally works his way through, and up to the top position he goes. The leading pitter now. Langley, meanwhile, will now have to try and catch Vitas on his own accord there. Basically, I think what Best was trying to do was a Sergio Perez back in 2021, and he tried his very best to hold off Vitas, but it did not work in the end, and Vitas managing to just outsmart the Ferrari driver. So after all the pit stops have been done, it is Vitas who's leading the pit stoppers with Langley behind him. Wolfsky is in third of that group. Then it's going to be Waste, Saunders, Argent, Smith, Williams. Even with that spin at the start, he's had a good recovery. Tucker, Betterson, Greaves, Fandango, Varga, Atherton and Bell. With Leach in the pits. Has he come out? Yes, he's still in pit lane. As your leaders now come into pit lane, which is Aberdeen and Craig. Got Lee and Gabino going down the main straight now, with Archer right behind them. All these guys wanted to go right to the very end by the looks of things. Obviously Best there, making it very, very easy to allow a Langley through. As we see Langley now going down, the crane occurs. What else is going on? Nuke Waste is under pressure from the Cloud9 driver of Wolfsky, who's a little bit closer. Williams is now onto the back of Smith, and Betterson is goes to Greaves. I think Greaves, if anything, has cleared Betterson, and through he goes. Into the crane curves goes Smith once again, but it's going to be Waste putting some, absorbing some pressure from Wolfsky at the minute. But the question is, when do the leaders pit? When does KLF, Lee and Gabino and Archer finally get their stops done? Best also another one still to get his stops done, but I really don't see them really stopping the leaders at the minute. They are looking very, very fast. Down towards the hairpin they go, and KLF goes around one more time. Every time he goes a little bit longer, he holds up. It's more likely chance that Vitas will jump him. I think Lee now comes into pit lane. There he is. And there is Vitas already coming out of the final corner. So that's how much they're losing. That's the pace that Vitas and Langley have. They're just so much faster in the clean air. And if these guys had pitted earlier, they would... if they'd pitted earlier, they would have been able to stay in front and hold them up throughout most of the lap, but they haven't. They've just given them the clean air, and that was enough for them to really start pushing their way forward. Meanwhile, Argent now onto the back of Brian Craig. Can he find a way through? Williams, meanwhile, has got past Smith into turn number one. Tucker has got a healthy lead. Oh, Tucker has a moment there. He manages to collect it together. Through the S's they go. Langley and Vitas 3.4 separating them, but you can see the pace that Vitas has on the rest of the pack. Langley just dropping off a little bit there, lost a little bit of pace. It looks like Vitas has just got general overall pace on Langley at this stage. Not much else going on at the minute. It's all relatively even. KLF finally pits. I think it's too little too late, as Vitas now comes into the final corner. He's caught Archer. Will Gabino and Archer come in as well? They're going to have to. Yes, they are. And KLF has not been dropped yet. Vitas will take the lead of this race. At the minute, that's going to be a win to his name at this stage. And Langley got a lot of work to do when it comes to the feature race. It's going to be tight between KLF and Wolfsky, and out comes Wolfsky, and he goes into P3, and KLF drops back into that P4 position. Down towards the crane curbs they go, and KLF now have to settle for fourth place at this minute. Meanwhile, Craig and Saunders, one's being attacked by Argent, the other is trying to put pressure on Waste, and Waste is actually just pulling away from Saunders now. So Saunders looking like he's out of the rhythm a little bit, but Argent is still putting the pressure on. Meanwhile, Gabino comes out pit lane behind Lee, and has got Archer right behind him as well, with Smith not too far behind as well. So this is the fight between the bronze class, and Archer has gained advantage on that one. So it is all even Stevens between those two. Who's going to come out on top of that scrap? That's going to be interesting. Your leaders really ain't going to be making much of a difference here now. I think most of them are kind of like in a set stone kind of order. I don't know why my game went into drive there, probably because we are about to cross the line. And now my game has decided to be a joke, but it's going to be Vitas who takes the first strike here. He wins the first race. Langley will finish in second, and then it's going to be, who is it going to be? Is it going to be Wolfsky, or is it going to be KLF? To the line they come. It is going to go the way of Wolfsky. He's going to round out the podium, and KLF will finish in 4th. Aberdeen 5th, 6th Waste, Saunders in 7th, Craig in 8th, Argent in 9th. Williams will round out the top 10, with Lee finishing in 11th, head of Gabino in 12th. Archer will hold off for the bronze class, with Smith in 14th. Tucker will finish in 15th place position, and it's going to be Betterson for 16th, ahead of the 4Q Motorsport, Fandango and Greaves. Then it's going to be Best in 19th place position. Varga is going to finish in 20th, followed by Atherton in 21st, Bell in 22nd, and Storrock in 23rd. Gary Leach back in pit lane. But strike one goes to Vitas. I'll be shortly back with the highlights, and we'll be back for the qualifying session as well. We'll be back just after Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the stream, and we now go into the final qualifying session of the season. 10 minutes left, and we still got beautiful weather here at Donington Park, and Matthew Duffin is doing me a favour in finding out to see what will happen in the championship standings. So after that race, Vitas doing everything that he needed to do. He took the race win, but sadly, even with the fastest lap as well, even with the fastest lap, the gap has come down to only 39 points, which is still a lot to do, to be fair. So we will see if Vitas can do it. From what Duffin has figured out, Vitas needs to win the race and Langley to become 16th or lower. So I think that's going to be a very, very tall ask to see what will happen. But either way, we shall see. KLF comes into the final corner now, and we are going to take a lap around this fantastic circuit with the man himself who'll be bringing you to comms tomorrow. Get a good exit out of Goddard and then head down towards turn number 1, using a bit of the pit exit. Brake just before the board on the right hand side and get the car turned in, turn into gear 2. Once you get a good exit out of there, you then head down to the crane of curves, head down towards the right hand side, making sure you take the shortest line down the hill, back over to the left hand side, and then open up the left hand side as you then open up the old hairpin corner. Take as much speed as you dare and then head up towards the left hander and the very, very tricky McLean's. Turn into the left, the brake straight as much as you can to turn into McLean's. There's a horrible bump on the inside. Make sure you get a good exit through there as you then head up towards Coppice, completely blind, and you then have to try and mark your braking point. Kelly's gone a little bit wide there through Coppice, and then heading down the SimPlay straight, a little break as you prepare himself for the S's. Make sure yourself all the way over to the right hand side, brake just past that board, down 2 gears into third, work your way through the S's, get a good exit, and make sure you then head down towards Melbourne hairpin, come over the crest, then brake just after the board on the left hand side, all the way down to first gear, late apex it, and try and get the best exit out of the final corner. Into the final corner we go, which is Goddard's, and then brake just before the Pirelli board, get the car turned in at a very late apex. Kelly gone a little bit wide there. He has brought the car back into the inside of the circuit, and a good exit out the corner will give him a lap time of 1:30.3, but obviously there is more time on the board as everyone starts to pump in some lap times as well. So lap times are coming in thick and fast. And we will see if any improvements will come. Craig meanwhile goes to the top, and we will see what the championship contenders can do. As now Vitas now comes into the final hairpin. I think Cabino is trying to stay out of the way, maybe find a gap to work himself into, or maybe go into pit lane. But either way, Vitas now comes to the line. Lee goes into P3. What does Vitas do? He goes pole with a 27.1. And the question is, what can Langley do? He's in the far end of the circuit. We've got lap times improving. Greaves only 4/10 off the back of him as well. So Greaves finding time himself. Where is Williams? He's coming into the back end of the circuit. Stark is also looking to complete a lap. I just hit myself in the head. Waste goes up into P4 with that lap time, and here comes Stork now. Gary Leach, he just crossed the line. He goes P4, and Stork comes into the pits. So he bailed out on that one by the looks of things. Where is Langley? Langley exits the final corner, and he has himself a car between him and Vitas. Vitas now has got Greaves separating him and Langley, but they are the first laps here. Williams now exits the final corner. Is this finally going to be a lap time on the board for him? To the line he comes. It is P7 for him in the end. As now we've got Luke Saunders now coming to the line. No improvement from him. Aberdeen, meanwhile, no improvement either. And Fandango goes to P4 on that lap time, so he finds improvement. Varga now goes P7 as lap times are starting to come in thick and fast. Wolfsky now to the line. Where does he go? No lap time on the board for Wolfsky. Yeah, there is. He is in 12th place position. Archer, meanwhile, crosses the line and he outscores, positions Smith. And that was another thing I was meant to keep an eye on, the points between those two. Archer losing out to Taylor on that one by the listing. So Smith gaining an advantage on him. I'm not sure the tables are up to date properly. But anyway, lap time's coming in thick and fast. Where is Vitas? He hasn't improved. Langley now comes to the line. Can he improve on that lap time? Get a little bit closer to his rival? No, he cannot. As Argent now comes to the line, he puts himself into P7. And everyone else just trying to find those couple of tenths here or there. We've got Craig coming to the line. There's also Williams crossing the line. Williams doesn't improve, nor does Craig. Saunders does. He goes to P7. So does Aberdeen. He goes to P10. And I believe that's Fandango behind. No improvement from here. Now we look to Varga, P9. 1.2 off the pace. He puts himself into 5th place. Now only 7 tenths off the pace. Now the 4-1-1. That is Benny Archer. His rivalry with Smith. He now goes into 15th place position ahead of Best, leading the bronze class. Sorry, Smith is leading the bronze class. He's got the advantage at the minute. Lee improves to go into 11th. KLF seems to be dropping down the order bit by bit. Anyone coming to the line? Vitas, no improvement on him. We look to Greaves, who's in the final corner now. I think he's setting himself up for a final lap run here. He crosses the line and he does not improve. KLF meanwhile goes very, very wide in the background, and that's going to ruin his lap time. Luke Waste makes an improvement. He goes to P14 with that one. Atherton and Betterson are done for the season. No more qualifying for them. As you now look to Langley, who crosses the line. No improvement. Once again, he stays where he is. And it seems like a lot of the guys seem to have hit a wall. Gary Leach, meanwhile, only half a second off the pace. Does he go any faster? No, he cannot. He stays where he is provisionally. Bell in the background looking to improve. And I can't see people changing. Craig, meanwhile, does improve. He goes up into P7. And Varga now coming to the line 7 tenths off. Now coming to the end of this session, and Vitas improves on his lap time. He goes to a 26.8, and we see in the 26s, I think the pros will end up in the 25s at some point. We did end up in the 25s quite comfortably last time out. Greaves meanwhile does improve and gets within 4 tenths of a second. As now Langley comes to the line, he now goes into 2nd place position where he needs to be, and we are coming to the very end of this session. Argent meanwhile coming to the line, he's 11th at the moment. Can he improve on his lap time? No, he can't. Leach meanwhile, no improvement from him either. Smith, any improvement? No, he stays where he is. Bell on the other hand, 24, he does find an improvement. Craig now to the line. No improvement either, so people just struggling to find those changes. Williams meanwhile goes up into 6th as Fandango improves to go to 4th, starting alongside his teammate Varga. Meanwhile still 7th at the minute, and no improvement being found for him. Wolfsky to the line, he goes to 12th with that lap time. Can Archer get ahead of Smith? He does, and takes the position, but he needs to keep going, because it looks like Smith is on another lap lead. Does not improve. Vitas meanwhile, does he improve again? Yes, he finds another 2 tenths. So Langley has to find some more time. Sam Greaves meanwhile, P3 at the moment in time. into the final corner now. Greaves is going to be the first one to finish. Is he going to improve? He finds a couple of hundreds here, but not enough to dethrone your top two. It is now Langley and who's that as well ahead of him? I believe it's Nuke Waste ahead. It is Nuke Waste. He goes 13th. Here comes Langley. Has he got any closer? He gets within 0.4 of a second, but that is it. I think Vitas is safe unless Fandango can find a little bit of time from somewhere. We've got a couple of cars coming into the final corner now. It is it was that crossing the line. That was Smith. He does get back ahead of Archer. Bell goes to 17th for that one. Craig in the end will start 8th. Saunders will start 7th. Here comes Varga. He goes to 5th place, so he finds an improvement. Anyone else to improve? Everyone else back to pit lane. So is Lee. It is just Wolfsky now to come to the line and Archer. Wolfsky goes to P8 and now Archer, the fight between him and Smith. He now takes provisional pole in the bronze category. And just in the background, Storick, can he find any more time? He goes to 22nd in the end. But Vitas takes pole position and then more importantly, the point to his name. Whoa, it's getting exciting. It is getting dramatic here. And that is that for the qualifying session, the last one of the season. And Audio Sport in the chat, Kelly saying that the brake pedal is sticking. Oh, lovely. The one event that he really wanted a podium in there, and or at least a race win, and it's sticking to the floor. You got this, Gray, says Catherine in the chat. Sounds like excuses from Mike Matthews. Mike Matthews written the books of excuses. I should know. As being in the party, but he tends to have a lot of them. The rain seems to have disappeared. We don't have any rain. Guys, it's the final race of the season for the Pro-Am boys. Your championship contenders are on the front row. And Vitas really needs Langley to have a bad round. Langley just literally needs to follow Vitas home to win the title.
30 seconds. 20 seconds.
So we get ourselves ready to go. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to be notified. Guys, have a look at our if you want to be a part of the action as well, then head over to the Sim Grid and get yourself signed up to any of the championship events that we will have next season. We will be returning once again with ACC, and it's going to be just as crazy next season. Obviously, no more Who Darren Cup. We're looking to make a new side series championship. We now look to the new Pro-Am Championship as well. And with all this going on, we still have the pros to race tomorrow night. And again, a championship fight to go on there. O'Reilly versus Rook. Who is going to take the title? That is the question. But here we go. Vitas versus Langley. This is for your championship fight. And then you've got the two 4Q Motorsport boys right behind them. They will want to finish the season on a high. They will want to win the championship. They'll want to win a race. But, excuse me, we shall see what happens after this first race. It is going to be an interesting one nonetheless. There is your vote, guys, to get your votes on who you think is going to win this race. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to be notified. This is going to be a fantastic race. It is going to be exciting. It is going to be fanatic, and we cannot wait to see who we will crown a champion here tonight. It is going to be the race of all races, and who's going to win it? That's the question. Get on your driver's side. If you think Langley's going to win it, go mad in the chat for Langley. If you think Vitas is going to win it, go mad for him as well. It is a lot of work for Vitas to do, but he's done everything right so far. He's won the first race. He took the fastest lap. He's taken pole position. Can he get this Grand Slam? Although he would have done everything he needed to do, it will still not be enough. But here we go for the final time. The 4Q Motorsport boys, can they be a little bit of a nuisance towards the end of this race? They will want to win the race and take that away from these guys. What are they going to do with strategy? Is it going to put them in the pack? Who knows? But either way, you've got the bronze fight as well between Archer and Smith. Who's going to take that away from those guys as we now get ourselves into the 2x2 formation? Vitas versus Langley, Archer versus Smith for the Pro-Am Championship and the bronze category. Who is going to be the winner here tonight, and who's going to win the race as we will look to the start of the starters orders here as they now get themselves ready for the final time here at SimPlay Motorsport in the Pro-Am category. We now wait for the green. And we are green and go here at Donington Park for the final time for the Pro-Am Championship. And Vitas gets the jump he needed. Meanwhile, Leach is going to be brave and go around the outside. And contact made by Langley there with, I don't know if it was Sam Greaves or Fandango, one of them going up the inside, but that has released Vitas down the road, and Leach is in the wall. Major damage to him, and KLF slow as well. But we get things underway here as they go through the crane of curves. But Langley with contact with one of their Lexuses as he now head up towards the right-hander of McLean's. And right now Vitas has got the jump he needed. He's got quite a significant jump as well. 1.3 ahead of Langley. Then we got Fandango now in P3. Where is Greaves? He's dropped back in the order. Sam has got Williams behind him as well. And there's a bit of kerfuffle going on behind. There's Gabino, Argent, Lee, Saunders and Nuke Waste all close to one another. And all contact there between Lee and now Saunders is going to go up the inside of Gabino. Gabino has to take the escape road. And through he goes. Aberdeen is going to make a position as well. Archer is going to work his way through and puts a gap between him and Smith as well. But Gavino is going to come back up the inside. Best, meanwhile, is putting KLF under pressure. And that is Fandango facing the wrong way. He's in the middle of the circuit. Leach goes deep as well, going through there. And he's waiting to get going. But it is Vitas who leads the way and fastest lap to his name. It is now Benny Varga who's moved his way up to P3. Ahead of Wolfsky, ahead of Greaves. And now Williams has got past Craig by the looks of things as Lee is trying to defend heavily from Waste, Saunders and Argent now just behind them as Lee goes wide. Argent taking a little bit too much exit there and gets onto the dirt. They now head down the crane of curves. Oh, Varga goes very wide and Wolfsky pretty much follows him through as well as Greaves also just trying to stick with these boys as best he possibly can. What's happening further back? Lee is pulling away from Waste. Waste is now putting Saunders under pressure with Argent. Argent sends up the inside at Coppice. Cannot get the run done there, and Saunders does end up losing traction, and that allows Argent to go through. Can he break a little bit later going into the S's? Is Saunders going to keep it up the inside? Yes, he does. Is he going to take too much track limits though? That's the question. Archer's going to try and come back up the inside once again, heading down towards Melbourne hairpin. He tries to break later going into the hairpin. Yes, he does. And in comes Aberdeen. And Aberdeen does barge his way through. And Gabino's right there with him. He's trying to go with him. The two pretty much Volkswagen cars of the Audi and the Lamborghini trying to go around the outside of the BMW. Can't get the job done there. And Smith, meanwhile, is attacking KLF to get himself closer to Archer here. And through comes Bestie as well. As they now head down towards turn number one, Best is trying to look to make a move on KLF, but he's really struggling with his brakes. Look like they're flickering quite a lot. You can see it there, the lights flickering As meanwhile, Wolski has got ahead of Varga, so Varga's made a mistake somewhere. Meanwhile, Williams is putting Greaves under some pressure here. So I think Greaves is fueled up to go long. And Greaves now under pressure from Williams and Craig. They now go through the exit of Coppice down the SimPlay straight, heading towards the S's, and Greaves really in a defensive position at the moment. Williams really looking to attack, but he's lost a little bit of run through this chicane there. He's going to lose a little bit of momentum. Greaves breaks a lot later. What else is happening further back? Gabino is attacking Saunders here into Melbourne hairpin. And he goes very wide, and Saunders can back up the inside. Aberdeen for a moment there looked to have a move, and Smith, meanwhile, important for the bronze championship, is going to look to try and go around the outside of Archer. He's bouncing all over the dirt under the curb, but Archer is going to hold him off. And Smith, meanwhile, tries to go for the undercut, and he gets close, but he's not quite close enough. And he just has to hold into position. And now we go down the crane of curves. So Smith losing out to Archer there. Pit window has now opened. Meanwhile, Greaves has dropped Williams, and Williams now gone into the clutches of Craig. Williams hasn't got that much damage on the front, but he's now dropped into the clutches. Are you guys going to do an ACC Corsa event? Not that we have planned. No, we're just sticking to Assetto Corsa Competizione, not the Assetto Corsa game itself, but it's kind of primarily where we base. As you see there, Greaves still putting pressure on the two BMWs there, and Wolski seems to get into a little bit of a groove there. What's happened further back? Argent dropping down the order. Oh, Leach is facing the wrong way. There's Jackal there as well. Betterson takes out the boards, and there's cars everywhere as Bell goes off, and into the wall he goes. He's gone into another. He's gone to park. He has, and he's managed to get the car going. He's taken out a board, which doesn't help. And Jackal comes through as well, so that's going to make life very difficult for people now going into the braking zone, as Greaves now getting into a groove. But meanwhile, Vitus is doing everything right at the moment, leading away. 4.3 I think the gap was. It's now 4.7 to Langley, and Langley just pretty much needs to stay there, and he is champion. Varga, meanwhile, has still got Greaves behind him. Williams is in a comfortable position ahead of Craig, who's not really pressurising him now. Lee in P8, Nuka Waste in P9, and Gabino in the rounding off the top 10. Archer, meanwhile, leads that bronze fight and pulled away from Smith, as Argent now into 13th place position. Best also having a good race here. He's up to 14th. Historic in 15th. Tucker in 16th. Betterson in 17th. And KLF pits straight away. Aberdeen moves up to 18th. 19th is Fandango. Then it'll be Atherton up to 20th. And KLF coming into the pits. A lot of cars with damage as well. Jackal and Bell moves up. Bell hits the back of Jackal quite hard there. And around they go. Damage to those two cars once again. And it's a night to forget for those guys. Your top two, though, long gone into this. Wolski makes a mistake there. He goes very, very wide. And the back end steps out. Varga wants to get closer. He's not quite close enough. Varga waiting for that good opportunity to pounce and attack. But he can't do so at the minute. Wolski got away with that one. So there's a fight between the BMWs at the minute. As they now come down the crane of curves, I'm pretty sure some drivers are already looking at testing cards at this moment in time. But down the S's, there you go. And Wolski at the minute doing everything that he needs to do. Head down towards the SimPlay straight. She's still doing a great job at the minute. Gabino, meanwhile, pulling away from waste. What other fights got going on? Smith and Archer still battling it out for that bronze position. Argent right behind him. We've got Best now ahead of Stork. Stork's going to give him a bit of a hard time. Tucker's not far behind either. And KLF getting that stop done. Jackal is in the pits quite a long time. So your running order after the start of that race, only 10 minutes in, it is Vitas who leads the way with the fastest lap as well. Langley sits in second ahead of Wolski, Varga and Greaves, who's now joined the back of that pack. Williams now in P6 with Craig in P7. Lee is going to cross the line 8 and Gabino in 9. Waste rounding out your top 10 as Jackal now comes back on track. Meanwhile, Archer goes ahead of Smith and looks like Best is making a move on Argent. And here he comes. Down the inside goes Best. Is he going to get the job done? They go wheel to wheel. They get close to one another. And Best is still there. He's still on the inside and he's going to get the job done through the crane of curves. And Argent has to back out. Best gets the job done. Now Stork, can he get onto the back of Argent and give him a bit of a hard time? Argent goes onto the grass. And also just in the background is Stork. He's sticking close to this fight at the moment. Far behind them is Tucker, Betterson, Aberdeen, Fandango. Both drivers recovering. Then you've got KLF, Bell and Atherton, Jackal, Leach. And then Saunders, who's pretty much 2 laps down at the moment. Oh, he's really sideways, is Saunders. We go back to your front, your top 3, or your 3rd, 4th and 5th place guys are getting interested in one another. Your top 2, meanwhile, are long gone into the distance. I think Langley's fueled up, and I think Vitas hasn't in this one. I think Vitas has done his usual thing of low fuel it, goes quick as he can, and try and extend the gap as quickly as he possibly can. He's got the fastest lap of the race to go with it. So that helps him out massively. They go through old hairpin and Varga has hit the curb quite hard. And off he goes. Is he going to keep it together? Yes, he does, but he loses out to Williams. And he's now going to lose out to Craig as well. And he's going to stay up the inside though and hits Craig on the side. So a little bit of a barge there between those two. So Varga is going to hold on to that P6 position, but Williams moving up. He's sticking with those guys in front now. Wolfsky, then you got Greaves, and then you got Williams. So the Lamborghini not looking too bad, as Gabino's also looking good in P9. He's pulling away from Lee, but then you got this titanic fight between the two bronze drivers of Archer and Smith. And they're going for the title. Tucker just loses the back end, and through goes Stork and Argent. And Argent's dropping down the pack like a stone. And Fandango is got ahead of Aberdeen and Betterson, so he's pulling away now. But again, that titanic fight for the bronze championship is between Archer and Smith, and they are going at it tooth and nail at the minute. I think at this moment in time, it's going to go the way of Smith at this moment in time. Varga now making that mistake. He's under pressure from Craig. Wolfsky now obviously has a little bit of an advantage over Greaves. And again, I think Greaves has fueled up. I think he's gone full fuel, and I think he's gone for a strategy of just go as long as he possibly can. And I think that's what Langley's doing as well. Meanwhile, further back, Argent still under pressure from Stork and Tucker. And Fandango now starting to work his way onto the back of them as well. And through the left-hand kink they go. It's all kind of spread out a little bit. There's not a lot of action going on at the minute. Your closest fight, meanwhile, Vitas has got a gap of 9 seconds. He's into the final corner as Langley exits the final penultimate corner. So Langley just struggling on pace at this moment in time. And Smith and Hunt and Archer is your closest fight, and their closest fight in the championship as well. Who's going to come out on top, Aston Martin or Ferrari? That is the question. go through Melbourne Hairpin, heading up towards Goddard's. And Archer at the minute is not doing enough. He needs to get further up. He needs to outscore Smith by a lot more at the minute, as Smith will have the advantage at this moment in time. Smith, just like I said with Langley, just has to sit there. Going to have to wait for things to hot up a little bit later. Meanwhile, Varga is also under pressure from Craig. Craig really wanting to get that position away from Varga. Meanwhile, Greaves has also brought the gap down to Wolski, so fights are starting to happen a little bit here and there. Storick is catching Argent as well, so as I say that, he goes, well, Argent's off! Argent's had a big moment, and he's spun right off the circuit. He has to wait for everyone to come through. And has he got going now? No, he is not. He is on his movement now, as you see Tucker now going on through. So Arjun making a mistake there, as Varga has put a little bit onto Craig at the minute. Cabino kind of in no man's land. He has got past Lee, who's dropped down the order and has made contact with Best and gone round even more. So Best moving up the order as well. But Archer and Smith having a fantastic scrap here. They're going to get themselves into the top 10, and that's great for the bronze drivers. Really good for them. A strategy like this is really going to help them out as they go down the main straight once again. Best there sitting in that 12th place position. He's not a million miles away behind the two in front either. So if these two come together, because they're focusing on the championship, Best can take an outright bronze win. I think Best has had a little slide. He has, and lost a little bit of momentum here. As Jackal returns back to pit lane. Arjun now getting back onto the rear of Tucker. Meanwhile, KLF, Saunders and Leach are the only ones to pit at the moment. Everyone else sticking with their strategies and going along. But like I said, your closest fight at the minute is your two for the bronze. It's Archer versus Smith. And boy, is it an exciting one to watch. Down towards the S's they come. Smith still trying his very best to find a way through. He can't do it at this moment in time. Storick is holding off Fandango at the moment in time. Best, what's happened to Best? I don't know. Best is still in that P3 position of the bronze. Through the final corner, there you go. Once again, Smith and Archer gets very close to one another. 4:10 separating them, and it's a great little scrap between these two. This is for bragging rights towards the end of the season of the bronze category. And the minute, like I said, Archer is not doing enough to take that crown, but you'll still want to finish ahead of Smith nonetheless. Smith going to look at the inside of Old Hairpin. He's not close enough. Fandango catching onto the back of Storick. Meanwhile, Argent has now got past Tucker once again and is on his way. Wolski, meanwhile, managing to keep Greaves off bay at the minute. Williams just dropping off the pace. Varga starting to catch him. And Craig not a million miles away behind them either. Cabino P8 at this moment in time with Waste in 9th. And Archer and that Williams, that bronze fight at the minute is the scrap to watch. As they're just evident flowing from one another down the SimPlay straight. They go once again onto the grunt of the Aston Martin down towards Melbourne Hairpin, and it looks like Archer's built himself a little bit of a gap here. And out of Melbourne Hairpin they go, and once again Smith not quite close enough to capitalise. The Aston Martin tends to have a better traction out of corners. And Fandango has got the job done on Storick. We've missed that as he goes through. And Craig once again brings the gap down to Varga. Can Craig find a way through on Varga. Greaves has once again brought the gap down as well to Wolfski. And just ahead of them is a lapped car. I'm not sure what lapped car it is. It is Atherton as well. So that's the car they need to negotiate. Car in pit lane, that is Bell. He's opted to pit. And Aberdeen is close to Storrock as well. So another fight is starting to come together. Tucker's not giving up on Argent either. Only 0.3 of a second separating those two at the moment. But all eyes are set to this bronze fight between Archer and Smith. Looks like Wolski's had a slow sector, and that's allowed Greaves to get closer. And he's gone wide again. He's gone a little bit deep. Atherton comes into pit lane. I think that is to complete his stop. Yes, it is. So DJ Field into the pits for the final time, hopefully this season. And Greaves wanting to finish on the podium where he's been pretty much all season long. Once again, Archer and Smith locked in battle. Slowly catching him behind them is Best. So it's soon going to make it a three-way fight for the bronze category. 0.4 of a second separating them. And there you see Best 1.1 off the pace now. He's right there. He's now going to start giving them a little bit of a hard time. And wants that overall win here. Wolski does pull away from Greaves there. Greaves looks like he went a little bit deep into the corner. And again, Tucker still giving Argent something to think about. They're catching Betterson as well at the same time. Meanwhile, KLF still your leading pitter. Ahead of Leach, there is KLF. Leach is only now going down to Old Hairpin. Shows how much Saunders has pitted again, I think. Bell's pitted as well, and Lee also pitting. Not pitting, sorry. He's just dropped to the back of the pack. Once again, Greaves gets a little bit closer, but not quite close enough. And Wolski once again goes very wide out the final corner. It really does hurt you out there. You will see 1.1 was the gap. It's going to be 0.6 of a second. So Greaves is there or thereabouts, and he's getting close. Out the final few sectors here comes Archer and Smith. Smith, he's going to try and get the undercut done on Archer, but he's not going to get the run. He's not going to get the pace. He's going to have to fall in behind the Aston Martin once again. Meanwhile, Aberdeen and Leach are close to one another. Leach barges his way through, and Storrock also lost out there to Aberdeen. But Leach is a lap down, but he's much faster, so he has cleared these guys. So he's looking to try and focus on extending the gap. Meanwhile, Vitas has made a gap of 13.4. Langley just struggling compared to Vitas, but again, he's doing everything that he needs to do. He's doing everything that he needs to do. He's got a couple of lap markers at the minute, but he's clearing them slowly, bit by bit. Greaves again still close to the back of Wolski, but not close enough to do anything to him. Once again, Wolski extending the gap to Greaves, holding him off at this moment in time. No real stress from the attacking car behind of Greaves. He's really not close enough to do anything at the minute, but he'll keep an eye on that fight. Meanwhile, what's happened to Archer? Archer's made a mistake, so he's now definitely lost the lead of the bronze class, and Smith now leads them away in bronze. But just behind him is Best. Best is coming for him. Slowly, bit by bit, he is bringing that gap down. Also, not too far behind them is Fandango. So if these guys get close to one another, it is going to get juicy as well. As they go through turn number 1. And Greaves has brought the gap down to 0.5 of a second. And they've got traffic ahead of them as well coming up. Williams, meanwhile, having a solid drive at the minute in P5, keeping Craig at bay. But we look to now the BMW and the Lexus driver, and Wolski's made a mistake through the chicane. Greaves is opting on for the grass. He's bouncing along, and he's going to try and hold it strong around the outside of Melbourne Hairpin. Wolski holds it strong to the inside. And Greaves does not get through. Greaves now look to the outside of Goddard's. Is Wolski going to go too deep? He's been going quite deep at the final corner, but he doesn't this time and keeps it in check. And Greaves now can't find a way through. He has to come up with a new plan. Meanwhile, Bettison under pressure from Argent and Tucker as well. So all those guys starting to concertina up a little bit. Aberdeen's now pitted as well. Sam Greaves once again gets closer to Wolski. I see Wolski's pulling away. Best is again closing up to the back of Smith. So just fights, just ebbing and flowing at this moment in time. Meanwhile, Archer really starting to give Bettison something to think about as they go into Goddard's. There, Atherton stays out the way. Oh, nearly makes contact with Argent there, as he is trying to stay out of the way. Down in turn number one, Bettison still holding off Argent at the moment. Tucker is there, ready to pick up the pieces. Greaves, meanwhile, off the back of Wolski. Track limits is going to be key, especially through the chicane. We'll see how it all pans out. Meanwhile, Varga has caught Gabino right here. So Varga now going to give Gabino something to think about. The BMW versus the Lamborghini. Gabino staying on the racing line. Varga's going to try and send it up the inside of Melbourne hairpin. Gabino just about gives him enough racing room, and he manages to do so. And Varga not able to get the job done. And through the inside goes Varga. He's had another crack at it out the final corner. And Gabino losing out there, heading up towards turn number one. Is he going to try and get the position back? No, he's not, as Varga has much more pace here than the Lamborghini driver. And through he goes, even though Gabino is going to go up the inside through the crane of curves. And no luck done for him there. Gabino losing out there and just getting back into a rhythm. Up towards the top end of the circuit. Gabino not able to capitalise. Meanwhile, Greaves did get close, got within 9/10, but that gap's opened up again. Gabino's not giving up quite yet. Best, meanwhile, is starting to become under pressure from Fandango. Bettison has now dropped behind Argent and Tucker. KLF now coming out the final corner. Still your leading pitter at the minute by quite some margin as well. So KLF in a really good position with that early pit stop. Gabino still on the back of Varga. It has been a long season. It's been a long championship. And these guys have fought very, very hard from start to end. But it's definitely been a season to enjoy. Who is going to finish the season on a high? Vitas is, though, in the lead of this race by 15.6 seconds. He's going through Coppice, while Langley's only now coming up towards McLean's. So I think there's a massive fuel difference and no tyre change I think Langley's going for. So Vitas needs to make 30 seconds if he's planning to take tyres. I think Williams has had some form of mistake somewhere because he's now under pressure from Craig. Wolski as well, pressured by Greaves as they come towards the halfway stage of this race. You see Craig and Williams, they're getting close to one another. Gabino losing touch to Varga. Fandango has got best, so through another position goes the Lexus and is on his way. We see here firstly, Greaves really putting pressure on the back of Wolski. He's not going to get him through Melbourne hairpin. We now look to Craig. He's not going to get close enough to Williams either. And Williams has to just hold off him for as long as he possibly can. Meanwhile, Wolski still defending heavily from Greaves. Greaves can't use the... He can use the Lexus power in a straight line, but he's not getting good enough tractions to really use it to its full advantage. And the BMW, not a slouch in a straight line either, holds off the Lexus. Best, meanwhile, coming back at Fandango. He's not quite close enough at this stage. And Fandango doing everything he needs to just then capitalise on his next driver he's needing to chase, which is Smith, who's gone a little bit deep through the final corner of Goddard's. He'll get the power picked up and go through towards the start line. He's still close to one another. Meanwhile, Craig looks like he has the run on Williams. They go up towards McLean's. Williams, the better momentum, goes through and holds off the inside. And Craig not able to capitalise here at the moment. This is where Greaves really need to use the Lexus power. Gets a good exit out of the final part of Coppice and can't really use it there. He's not close enough. Meanwhile, Craig is into the toe of Williams. Can he find a way through? Into the S's they go. Craig trying to brake later. He gets a little bit too close to the back of the Lamborghini and loses momentum there. Meanwhile, Greaves has got the undercut here. He's looking to try and make the move on the inside of Wolfsky. Wolfsky is going to defend the inside. Sam is forced to go the long way around and once again loses momentum. Down towards turn number 1 they go. Meanwhile, Sam and Brian are looking close to one another. Varga has been slowly working his way towards these two as well. Fandango still under pressure from Best. So Best still really giving him a bit of a headache at this stage. Not able to really do anything with that pace in the Ferrari. Once again, Greaves gets a little bit closer to Wolfsky. Can't do nothing about it. He has to just follow him around that little bit longer. The traffic is going to help him. Here is KLF, who's just going to move to the right-hand side and let them through. Easy as you like, and falls in behind. And again, Craig just gets a little bit closer to the back of Williams. Not quite close enough. Varga pulling away from Gabino. Gabino not able to stick with him. Meanwhile, Aberdeen has just caught past Storrock, who has his own moment through Coppice. A little slide and a little moment. Here comes Smith now, who's flashing the lights to say, I'm on a lead lap here, mate. You're going to have to jump out of my way now, as Smith comes on through. And Storrock not yet pulling out of the way. Now he does so. And Aberdeen had his own moment once again. And both of these two are about to get lapped by Smith. And Smith is in a really awkward position here, as Aberdeen just ahead of him. And Smith trying to find a way through, but he cannot get the job done. And Aberdeen is a lap down. He does need to abide to the blue flag rules. And Smith trying to negotiate these guys as Aberdeen wants to try and pull away. But at the minute, he has been told by the blue flags to get out of the way. And he's not doing so at the moment. Bell, meanwhile, coming through here. He's holding up Greaves ever so slightly to get the run on Wolfsky. And Wolfsky goes deep, though, through Coppice as well. So that doesn't help him at all. As they head down the SimPlay straight once again. And we are slowly coming to the halfway point of this race. Vitas, meanwhile, has now pitted. That is going to be interesting to see where he pops out. More likely going to take fuel and tyres. I think it's a long stop as well, so he is going to do that strategy. And the Williams looks like he's covered off Craig for the meantime. Smith now under pressure from Fandango, and now you can see Aberdeen has pulled away. Smith taking a lot of entry curb there. I don't know if that's going to hurt him with a track limit warning. But Vitas is changing tyres by the looks of things. He's been doing it pretty much most of the season, and it seems to work from him from time to time. And can he make that gap back up? The gap was 15 seconds when he pitted. Can he make another 15 seconds up to counteract that deficit? He's now coming out of pit lane, and he's just ahead of Waste. So he's got a relatively good gap that he's fallen into, and we'll see what he can do with that gap. Greaves looking like he's lost a little bit of momentum now onto the back of Wolski, and Craig has got ahead of Williams. So Williams possibly making a mistake here and has dropped behind the McLaren driver. Still in the top 5 though, so good points for him at the minute. Varga has been slowly chipping his way through the pack, but not really done enough to capitalise on the guys in front. So he's going to have to try and find a little bit more pace, maybe use the pit stops to his advantage. But Varga, the first one to stop, the first one to stop at the midway stage. And I'm pretty sure he's taking tyres. Can he bring the deficit gap down? That's the question. He would need to clear a lot of cars on the way though. So meanwhile, Wolski and Greaves going at it. Betterson now pits as well. And you can see Greaves, the back end of that Lexus, looking a bit unhappy at this stage. The tyres will start to feel their fatigue at the minute. And we're coming up to the halfway stage of this race. And the halfway stage of the season. Smith also pits as well. And Wolski goes a bit wide. He's going to compromise his exit. He's going to compromise his run down towards the S's. And here comes Greaves on the attack. We are past the halfway stage. And there, Wolski makes the mistake. Greaves goes around the outside. Is Wolski to keep his nose in front? Greaves tries to keep the door shut as he makes the apex of Melbourne hairpin. And he does get the job done. Greaves now up into 3rd place position and ahead of Wolski. Now can Wolski get his calmness back? Can he get his header back into the game? He pits instead and he chooses to get into the clean air possibly. Williams meanwhile still trying to stick with Craig, but he's losing out. As Varga is bringing that gap down. It was 5 seconds, it's now 4. What's it going to be now? It's 3.9, so a 10th here or there. Gabino now also pits, so a lot of drivers now opting to pit at this halfway stage of the race. Now as well, we've got the big gap separating everyone out as well. We've got Aberdeen, who's actually given Fandango, I think, a little bit of a hard time. Fandango possibly lapped him, and Aberdeen now is just basically sticking to his back bumper. No real fights going on at the minute. Sam's dropping further back from Craig, so we'll go on board with your race leader at the minute, who's currently at the minute winning the title if he finishes behind Vita. So it's probably going Quantum's way for a Drivers' Championship in the Pro-Am category. We'll see how it all pans out come towards the end of this race. Anything can still happen. Vitas is doing everything he needs to do. He needs to win this race. He needs to gain every single point. But at the minute, it's not enough. So, down towards turn number 1 goes Langley. And up the inside of Archery goes Gabino. Meanwhile, is going to clear Archer as well. So that's an overtake done for Gabino. One less car in his way. He's now behind the leader of the race, so he doesn't want to be too close to the back of him. So he does not make contact with him, because that's the last thing you want on the championship decider. But so far, so good if you are Langley. Wolski, meanwhile, has pitted, and he's come out behind Argent, so you want to clear him as quickly as you can. Meanwhile, Greaves has gone green and come out way ahead, so he has got the fuel stop done, but he hasn't managed to get near Vitas. Now, if Langley were to pit now, he should be ahead of Vitas, but it would be very, very close, I would say. If that was Greaves' stop, although saying that Greaves and Wolski were quite the gap behind Langley as well, so Langley would have the advantage, but the fresher tyres for Vitas would be in his favour. Next car he has to chase is Varga, which is 6.6 up the road, and if Varga descends to pit early as well, it's just more cars that would just be jumping out of his way. Guys, if you haven't done so, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified. The 222 drive-through, that is historic for track limits. Such a shame they're easily done here at Donington Park, especially through the chicane. Yeah, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified. Keep an eye on the Discord and the Instagram as well for any events that will be coming up very shortly. We do have 3 events that we are planning to hold, which is the Porsche night at the Red Bull Ring, which will be GT2s, GT3s, and the Porsche Super Cups all around the Red Bull Ring. Who's going to become the king of the Porsches? That's the question. A good little fun event that we're going to be hosting. And then undecided yet of how long the race is going to be, but we're doing an endurance race around Watkins Glen, 4 to possibly 6 hour race. Preferably one with a Pro-Am and a Pro driver would be preferable, but we'll see what we can do as Stork comes in to do his drive-through. Wolski's still giving Argent a bit of a hard time. If I was Argent, I really would not be fighting him at this stage. Meanwhile, Best has caught Smith. The gap was 0.4 of a second. And where's KLF in all this? He's quite a bit far behind those guys. So KLF looked like he had a good strategy going on at the minute, but he ended up losing out. Atherton now, track limits has hurt him, and he now has a drive-through to sort out. Williams, meanwhile, has brought the gap down once again to Craig. It was over 2 seconds. It's now down to 1.7. And guys, obviously in the chat, if you have been watching this season, let's hear from you guys. Who do you think your driver of the season? Obviously, it's going to go the way of either Vitas or Langley, but which of the two? Vitas has really looked dominant towards the end of the season. Oh, Argent's gone off. That's going to let Wolski through. And one less car to hold him up through this stint. And what has been your highlight of this season? Anything in particular that comes to mind, and drop it in the chat. I know making money off a Skunky has been rather entertaining for myself, making 50p's here and there with drive-throughs. Hopefully we can continue that next season as well. Here we got Williams just bringing the gap down to Craig. He's got a couple of cars around him that are a lap down, and there is Best. He's made a mistake, and that's going to allow a few cars through, including Bell, who's a lap down on Best anyway. Best is going to send it up the inside, and then he makes contact with the McLaren driver. And he has to watch out because here comes more lapped cars. Williams goes up the inside of him and clears him. This is all just helping Varga bring that gap down. Not too far behind him is Vitas, who's absolutely flying at the minute, and is 2.1 behind Varga at this moment in time. Langley, meanwhile, quite comfortably out in front. The longer he goes, though, the more and more chance that Vitas is going to bring that gap down. Bell, meanwhile, is moving to one side to allow, I think, Williams to come through. No, he's not. He's holding them up a little bit longer here by the looks of things. Williams going to go up the inside of Bell. Job done there for him. And Best is just behind Bell as well. He will want to clear him pretty quickly. Where is Varga? There he is. He has got Vitas hunting him down. 1.3. The gap was pretty much over under 3 seconds earlier on. Vitas has brought that gap massively. Another 0.3 taken out of Varga once again. And here comes Vitas. No, he never did, Tips. He never did pay me the 50p. I was well gutted. I needed that as well. It was going to go towards my funding for a Freddo, which is no longer 50p. Meanwhile, Bell and Best having a little bit of a scrap. Here comes Vitas, though, making a move on Varga. I think Varga really is going to lose this fight. He's going to fight him off, though. He's going to try and hold him off as best he can. But I think Vitas will end up ahead of him. But more importantly, Langley has now pitted. Oh, Bell there gets close to the back of Best. Best holding these guys up is also slowing Vitas down as well. He's going to try and go around the outside of Varga. No, he's not. He's not quite far enough alongside Langley as he's about to go green. No, he's not. And Vitas will retain the lead, I think, even with this squabble going on. And Langley losing out. I think if he got to turn the tyres off, he's going to end up dropping behind. And Vitas goes on through. Langley, this is a long stop from him. Where's Greaves? Greaves has jumped him. Oh, no. Where's Wolski? He's quite a way back. So, yeah, he's only going to lose a couple of places here. Wolski was sat in that P4 position. But Langley, not the stop he would have wanted. He's lost out to Greaves here. And Vitas now clearing Varga and now onto the hunt for Williams and B. Craig. So coming to the end of this race, it is starting to get interesting. I'm trying to get it working all the hours possible. Skunky, you make me laugh. Meanwhile, Best staying out of the way of Vitas there. Also goes through Varga. Well, after your race wins last night, Skunky, I think you could be able to pay in sponsorship for my 50p, hopefully. I said I want a Freddo. We've been wanting a Freddo all season long. So, pit stops yet to come. Yeah, we've still got a few more left to go, but with only less than 30 minutes of the race to go, it's Craig leading the way ahead of Williams in second. Vitas in now third place, and with fastest lap. Varga now pits from P4, and Greaves is going to move on through. He's currently P5. Nuke Waste currently sat in P6, with Langley P7, Wolski P8, and Tucker P9. Fandango sat in P10, with Gabino in 11th. Archer in 12th, with Smith in 13th. Best in that 14th place position, with Argent in 15th. KLF sitting 16th, with Aberdeen in 17th, Leach in 18th, Sturrock in 19th, with Saunders in 20th, Betterton 21st, Bell 22nd, Atherton 23rd, and Jackal has retired. I've tried pimping Andy on Grindr, and sadly no one wants 50p for him. Don't read that one out for too late. Too late, Skunky. Oh my god. Tucker now pits. Where did Varga coming after all of that? He's now 7th. He's actually stayed ahead of Wolski. So Wolski coming up in earlier. It's really hurting quite a bit. Langley's down the SimPlay straight. So Varga not really close enough to him, and the gaps have really strung out here at Donington Park. Meanwhile, Best and Argent are going at it once again. The 79 versus the 22. I have to go half. No, I want to get one on my own. Not having half a Freddo, it's not worth it. The whole thing's worth 50p, not the half of it. Craig's now pitted. He's ended up in pit lane. And Williams now leads this race. Not sure if he's led a race this season yet. So let's see Williams out in front with Vitas in P2 and hunting him down pretty quickly. Langley has now come out ahead of B. Craig. So where's B. Craig going to fall in all this? There's Wolski. There's Varga. So he's going to lose out to Varga. It's how close he's going to be with Wolski. That's the question. He now comes out of pit lane and stays ahead of the BMW driver. So Craig, say, gains a couple positions there. Wolski's strategy has not worked out whatsoever. He was in a solid P3. He's dropped down the order now, as it's now getting darker here at Donington Park. Obviously next season the admins are still in discussion of what the side series is going to be. It's currently still the Ginettas for the moment, but it's looking to be changed at the moment. So let's see you guys in the chat, any good suggestions of what we could see as a replacement to the Ginettas? What would you like to see as a side series? Obviously know what Cloudon's going to say. I don't even need him to be in it to know what Cloudon wants to say. But if anyone knows Cloudon very well, especially in the Discord, he has a particular series of cars that he really wants to see as a series, and so he can race them in, but I don't think they're really going to ever turn up. And Varga, track limits, has got him a drive-through penalty for him, so that's his race ruined, as Wolski now puts the pressure on Craig. And Vitas once again bringing the gap down. He's going to take the race lead very, very shortly. And Williams would be smart not to really fight Vitas now. He's pretty much lost the fight here to him. And Tip says M2s. Oh, he's gone a bit deep, has Williams there. A little bit of understeer. You can see the front end just struggling to grip up. And here comes Vitas, and smartly Williams does not race him. Where's he? I'm not sure what Vitus is doing here. Williams is trying to do his own little race here, mate, and Vitus is weaving all over the place. M2s for a championship, says Tips. Could be an interesting one. As down into Melbourne hairpin they go. Vitus surely will get the job done. Craig, meanwhile, still defending from Wolfsky at the minute. There goes the undercut from Vitus, and I think Vitus is playing with Williams at the minute. And what's doing is holding the pair of them up. Lamborghini versus McLaren, and you can see Vitus now going to go up the inside, going down the crane of curves. And Williams, I think Vitus has now got to the point he knows he can't do any more, and Langley not really losing enough at the minute. The only thing that's really going to help Vitus at the minute is the idea of him getting a drive-through. You see there Vitus just toying with Sam at the minute, and the flash of lights through Vitus as well. I think he knows this is the last car to pass, and there goes Vitus up the inside. Williams loses the lead of the race. In the absence of the Reliant Robbins, in my opinion. Skunky in the chat, M2 is a good shout. Alpine Cup is worth looking at. So an Alpine Cup is something that's been suggested already to myself by Skunky. Would like to see the Alpines. Now, Robbins would be amazing, says Mike Matthews. Meanwhile, Nuke Waste defending from Langley. And again, another driver that's not pitted yet. And it's not really a driver you want to be fighting at the minute. Wolski again still fighting Craig. Langley is in a risky position here. I know he's only P4. It's how many rolls they'll do, isn't it, Tips? How many rolls can people get out of the Robin? That's the question. So Williams still leaving it to the very last minute, I think, and as will Nuke Waste as well with the clean air they have. Waste is now under pressure from Langley. Meanwhile, Craig is still giving Wolski a bit of a hard time. So this is really actually... Wolski's now got past Craig, but with these two scrapping, this is helping Williams out quite a bit. And I don't know if maybe the fight with Vitus has actually held him up a little bit more. Meanwhile, Varga now serves his drive-through. As Archer now retains the lead of the bronze class. Smith dropping further back, and Best in that third place position. Argent not too far behind him. Betterson back into pit lane, and Varga has now cleared his stop. His drive-through, I mean. He ends up just ahead of Fandango, so that could be a fight towards the end. And I think actually Varga will pull away from Fandango. Seems like Fandango hasn't had the pace tonight. But it'd be nice to hear from Sam Greaves and Fandango tonight, as they'll be the Constructors Champions. It'd be nice to have a quick word with those guys. But Greaves, meanwhile, is looking good for a P2 at the looks of things, as he's got quite a healthy gap to Langley at the minute. And I think Langley made a mistake with tyres. I don't think he wanted to change them. I think he forgot to change them and turned them off. But it's going to hurt him now in the second place position. Meanwhile, Best goes wide, and Argent gets a little bit closer to him once again. But is Argent going to try and send it around the outside of the crane of curves? No, he's not. Instead, Best goes very wide through Old Hairpin and loses another position once again. Vitus, though, looking mighty and strong out in front. Matt Wright, Skunky in M2. The rest of us in Retia. He gets a 2-lap head start. I think he might still do us in the M2. The Retia, I think people don't really understand how bad a car that car actually is. Varga's actually lost out to Fandango here. Mike says he loves the Retia. I mean, it'd be interesting when we do the classic event, who's going to run the Retia. I'd like to see who's brave enough to run that, especially around Nürburgring. Be interesting to see if anyone does pick it. The Jaguar as well is an interesting choice. Varga gets very close to the back of Fandango, but not able to capitalise at the minute. We've got also Leach attacking Aberdeen here for 17th and 16th place position. And they're hunting down KLF as well, who's still obviously got brake problems as well to negotiate. But Varga trying to get a better exit out of Coppice there to try and attack the Lexus, but he's not going to get nowhere near that thing in a straight line. And Fandango pulls away. Oh, yes. As Varga looking to make a move on Fandango there, but not close enough at this stage. Also, Best and Argent still going at it wheel to wheel. And we've got Leach and Aberdeen purely focused on one another when it want to try and chase down KLF, who is struggling at this moment in time in that 15th place position. I think we need a Rettier season. I think you won't get sign-ups, Mike. It's a nice idea, but you won't get sign-ups. Best going to send it up the inside through the chicane, and he drops it, and around he goes. And KLF not at the minute close enough to capitalise on that, but Best has to wait for cars to come through, and I think that's his teammate going through. Yes, it is. And where is KLF? He's now coming to the chicane itself, so they're catching Best now. Rettier season, what are you? Fandango meanwhile pulling away from Varga. Front, no real other fights at the minute. Williams really leaving it to the very last moment here. And now we've got this three-way fight between KLF, Aberdeen and Leach. The BSR boys, first time they've actually ran together this season as well. And they're now just going to squeeze Aberdeen into a sandwich. I'm waiting for PMR. I want touring cars as tips. I would love a touring car championship. I do miss the touring cars on Project Cars too. Some of my greatest fights and races have been in touring cars and Clios. They've been really good. In the old GT3 cars season, can we run the Bentley? You can run the oldest Bentley, not the newest Bentley. Lexus, on the other hand, is also banned, so you can't run the Lexus either. So it is purely just the old evolutions of cars. No, the 296 is not also available either. It is just the 488. Yes, yeah, the race season. Meanwhile, Leach has got a great run on Aberdeen, and KLF is kind of holding the pair of them up at the minute. And can Leach gain from this one? The Audi's very good in a straight line. KLF, I think, has made a mistake through the chicane. That's going to make a compromise to the hairpin of Melbourne. And Leach looking to the inside as KLF tries to defend the inside. Aberdeen sticks to the outside of the corner, and Leach swoops down the inside, and cheeky of him goes through. And Aberdeen gives him a flash of the light, say, "Oi, come on, mate, you're just giving me a barge pass." And now KLF trying to hold off Leach. No, he lets him go, I think. Oh, he gets quite close to the back of him. And Aberdeen with a flash of lights, not too pleased with Leach. And Leach gets the pair of them. Meanwhile, further ahead, Varga still can't get close enough to Fandango to really make a move. And Williams and Waste will soon have to pit as we see the sun coming down here at Donington Park as we come to the end of the season. And Aberdeen now trying to find a way through on KLF as now Leach disappears. Detail Advantage is available as well. Yes, that's available. I'll get the list of cars. Basically, the McLaren 650S is available as Aberdeen has a great run through Coppice here. And because KLF's brake issue is really been hurting him here, he loses out to the Audi as Aberdeen goes way too deep through the chicane. KLF tries to have a better run through it to try and attack him up towards the Melbourne hairpin, but he's not quite close enough. Aberdeen with a flash of lights to Leach saying, "Come on, mate, you hit me earlier. Now let me come back through." Craig now onto the back of Wolfsky. He's dropped further back. There's only one Bentley. No, I'm pretty sure there's two. I'm pretty sure there's two versions. If there's only one version, then I might be taking some of Skunky's magic. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there's two Bentleys. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure there's two versions, Skunky. I'm pretty sure there's an older version. I was playing the career mode not long ago, and I'm pretty sure there's an old version of it. So, again, I might be wrong, but I'm adamant there's another version. As Archer there gets out of the way of our race leader, which is Vitus. And Williams finally opts to pit here. He comes into pit lane. Meanwhile, Langley has been bringing the gap down to Greaves. It's going to be a last titanic fight between these two towards the very end here, as Williams now finally does his stop. Where's that going to put him? That is the question. As through comes, where is Wolski? He's into Melbourne Hairpins. If Williams has done his stop relatively well, he has. He's gone green. This is P4, I think, for Williams. This is going to be a good stop from him. Wolski not close enough as Waste goes on through, and yet he's got to do his stop as well. So Williams here with a solid P4, and I think that's going to be his best result of the season if he can hold it off. Let's have a look as well. Matching his best. So P4, he's never been on the podium, sadly, has Sam, but he is trying his best. Beto, internet issue, that's why I had to left drive today also. So Beto, obviously not having the luck tonight. But Langley now clearing some back markers and wants to finish the season in second place. He's not going to win the race. I think Vitus is going to take a grand slam here. Oh my God, it's the McDonald's man. He lives. It is Fat Bloke. Nice to see Fat Bloke in the chat. It has been a while. We have not seen him in a long time, and you have been missed, my friends. Come at the very end of the season. As I'm just doing a driver of the day, and then we'll do the driver of the season. I think as well. We're going to go with, I think, that. So there is your drivers of the day. Get your votes in on that. Fat Bloke, well done for Q Motorsport on winning the team's championship. Glad to hear you guys. We've missed you, Fat Bloke. We really have. Yeah, it's good to see you back in the chat and hopefully back on the grid as well. We miss your McDonald's BMW. Sam Greaves and No Fandango has done a great job as well. Great stream as always. Well done to all the drivers. Thank you, Fat Bloke. And Skunky says, I'll bet you 50p there's only one Bentley. I'll bet you a Freddo there's two Bentleys. As Fandango is still under pressure though from Varga towards the end here. Leach has now caught best towards the end of this race as the pit window is now about to close. Nuke Waste will need to come into the pits this lap. So can Leach now find a way back past Best here? Best defends the inside of Melbourne Hairpin. So guys, get your votes in on driver of the day. Come into the last few laps here. Now Nuke Waste finally comes into pit lane. Where's Wolski? He's not really going to give Williams a threat at the minute, as we only got just over 5 minutes of this race to go. And the fights are between Varga and Fandango, and now Best versus Leach, as well as Langley has brought the gap down to 0.6 of a second between himself and Greaves. And this is going to be very interesting towards the end of the race, unless Langley did change the tyres. He's going to be much, much quicker than Greaves. And they now come down the SimPlay straight, down into the final chicane. They're coming to the end of this race. They're coming to the end of this championship. And at the minute, it's going the way of America. It's going the way of Quantum. Vitas has done everything right. He's done everything he possibly can. But he is not... Just Langley has just not had the bad luck that Vitas needed. Forget the Fredo. Get to Audi for a Dino Dinosaur. Never heard of that. I might have to check that out. Atherton there having a moment and a spin. Varga still attacking Fandango, so the two Lexuses under pressure, and Best is still under some immense pressure from Leach here right to the very end. Do we love Donington as the finale? Because I feel like Donington twice now as finale has really started to become a little bit of a habit, which is nice. It's the home of SimPlay and it's where we like to finish things off. Looks like Saunders has had a moment just ahead. I think he has. He's now dropped behind Williams, who was obviously lapping him. He's in his 4th place position. Where is Langley? Going up towards McLean. So Williams really in kind of like no man's land at the minute. Craig is got Aberdeen for company. Fandango has pulled away from Varga, and Varga has dropped behind Gabino. Waste. Yeah, so Varga has made a mistake somewhere, and he's dropped further back. The pit window has now closed. You've got 5 minutes left of the season, 5 minutes left of the championship. And there's 5 minutes left to crown a champion. 4Q Motorsport have been brilliant all season long. They have been the team to beat regarding the constructors. They are going to win the title. They're going to get a Lexus on the podium as well, though. But it's come down to this. It's Langley versus Vitas. And Vitas has been absolutely spectacular. He has been faultless all night long. But it's not been enough. Langley at the minute is doing everything right. I like Donny, so why not? For us, it's a great finale. Was a great track for Ginettas last night. I think it's a great finale in general as well. So it's awesome to have here. And Best, meanwhile, is got... Luke Saunders has had another moment and is now holding up Best and Leach. Leach is going to try and send it up the inside of the final corner. They've come together. And Best has come off worse. And he's now facing the wrong way. Oh, poor Bestie. And Leach gains from that one. Where is Leach? He's pulled away now. Where is KLF? Nowhere near Best. And I think KLF is quite covered off with Tucker as well. So it's now 2 fights. So one fight we're really looking at. It's Greaves versus Langley. Can Greaves hang in there, though, to the very, very end? Drivers, guys in the stream, if there's any highlights from the season, then please feel free to drop it in the chat. Highlights of the championship, anything of you can think of. Vitas is going to get driver of the day. I'm going to do driver of the season. But coming into a Melbourne hairpin, Greaves is still trying to hold off Langley as best he can. Through the final corner they go. Sam Greaves still trying to hold off Langley to the very bitter end, and he is doing his very best here. Smith's just behind, just enjoying the show. And there we go, driver of the season. There's a poll gone out to those 4 who I think have really been the stars of the season. So get your votes in for driver of the season as we come to the end of this race, and it's still this titanic fight between Lexus and Ferrari. Skunky now owes down to Dino Dinosaurs or a Fredo. As we see here, Langley with a good exit through Coppice. He's now onto the back going into the S's. But once again, the Lexus grunt holding off the Ferrari. Number 2, that is KLF. He gets a drive through earlier on. He has cleared it very quickly, though. So He has cleared that. I missed that. Has he dropped behind Tucker? Yeah, he is. So he's only actually lost 1 place out of that. The 999. That is Gabino drive through right at the very end of the race. That's going to capitalize waste. I think Varga maybe as well as Archer is going to end up ahead of Smith in the point in the track, but I don't think in the points. Meanwhile, 2 Bentleys isn't there. I'm gonna have a look in a minute. I swear I'm gonna have a look. But Vitas coming through the far end of the circuit. He's going to start his final lap momentarily, but still this fight between Greaves and Langley is going tooth and nail right now. And in the corners, the Ferrari is so much better, but down the straights, he cannot do anything to get past that Lexus. And I bet the rear end of that Lexus is not happy. Guys, get your votes in of driver of the season. And it's a titanic fight. These two have been going at it for quite a fair amount of the season as well. And Langley trying to find a way through on Greaves right at the very end here, but he cannot find a way through. Vitas crosses the line to start his final lap, his final time round here at Donington Park in the Pro-Am Championship. Pro-Am driver of the season goes to Sam Greaves for Beto in the chat. And Sam defending the inside once again. Gabino has done his drive-through. Has he lost out to Varga? No, he has not. So he's only lost 1 place as well himself. So it's all fair game for him. Too many track limits there right at the end. And Vitas now heading up towards McLean's. But this is it. We're coming to the end. I agree, Sam has held an outstanding season, says Mike in the chat. Strangely, a lot of people going for Sam, thinking not the championship leader would get this one. But either way, we're coming to the very end of this championship. It is coming to the end of this season. Where is Vitas? He's coming down the SimPlay straight. We keep an eye on him as we still got this fight between Greaves and Langley. We will also have interviews as well from the champion and the team's champion as well, and any other drivers that are in the top 3. Into the final few corners now. Anyone who's in the top 3 from the first race as well. Vitas, though, into the final corner, has done everything right. He has done a grand slam tonight. He has destroyed Donington. Vitas, though, crosses the line. He waits like Felipe Massa. He comes to the line. He wins the race. We got the rest of the cars behind him. That is Nuke Waste, Tucker and Atherton coming to the line. Greaves, meanwhile, is going to hang off ahead of Langley as Gabino now crosses the line for 9th. As Langley is coming towards the far end of the circuit now. Varga is going to cross the line in the end for P10. Archer for P11. Not enough to beat Smith, but coming through the final corner, Sam Greaves crosses the line in 2nd, but it is Gray Langley who becomes your new Pro-Am champion. He does it here at Donington Park. Gray Langley will become your Pro-Am champion for Season 8. Congratulations to him. Williams is going to round off the season in a P4, and a brilliant drive from him. He is very happy with that one as the rest of the cars now come flooding through. Williams taking P4, Wolfsky in the end for P5. Craig is going to finish just behind him in P6, and Fandango in the end coming home to finish in the P7 position. Nuke Waste in 8th, Gabino in 9th, Varga in 10th, 11th Archer, Smith in 12th, Argent 13th, Leach in 14th, Best 15th, Aberdeen in 16th, Tucker 17th, Bell 18th, Saunders 19th, Atherton 20th, and KLF 21st after being disqualified. But Vitas, Greaves and Langley, a fantastic season from them, but it has gone the way of Langley. He is your Season 8 champion, and a massive well done to him. Guys, get your votes in for driver of the season. We are going to get an interviews from them as Langley and Best run up side to side. Let's go in the chat from Catherine there in the chat, and indeed a massive well done to Gray. We will get the highlights going. We'll get some interviews going as well, as we'll just switch to the Patreon page, and I'll be back in a few moments. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully we should be able to have the guys in the chat momentarily. As first things first, I just wait for the tables all to be updated. Driver of the season with 17 votes. It's been incredibly tight. It's been incredibly great season nonetheless, and we'll get the interviews in a few moments' time. But what a season it's been. At the minute, the driver of the season is going the way of Vitas at the moment, closely followed by Greaves and Langley, and then Varga dropping to the back of that. But what a night's worth of racing. It's been entertaining nonetheless. We'll have a few chats with some of the drivers. For me, driver of the day has to go the way of Vitas. He is absolutely dominated here tonight. He's been fabulous, and I think the only Grand Slam this season I think that anyone's managed to do with fastest lap, pole position, both races, race wins as well. I'm not sure anyone else has managed to do that. Someone might have to correct me, but I think he's the only one to do it this season in Pro and Pro-Am. So, as I said, someone might have to correct me on that one. But we will have a chat with some of the drivers here. We have got Varga in the chat. We'll have a quick chat with Varga. Benny, a season of ups and downs, a season where the championship could have been on your side, but a bit of bad luck and not able to make every race has hurt you a little bit. But talk us about this season. It's been absolutely brilliant to watch from my end.
Well, yeah, to be honest, sometimes at some tracks I felt that my pace was there with the tops, and it kind of showed, but I have tons of bad luck, especially with race ones. And for tonight, it was basically the toughest race of my life yet, because I developed a slow puncher, both on my front left and rear left. So I wasn't able to turn right basically for the last 10 minutes of the race. So it was a tough job. But overall, I'm glad that I could find pace this season. So overall, it was not a bad season for me. But I lost a lot of points, obviously out of my hand by my own mistakes. So I need to get it together, and I might be able to fight for a championship win.
How was the BMW this season? Obviously, we had many different cars, especially in Pro-Am, fighting for the championship. But how's the BMW been for you this season?
It was quite handy. It's the car that fits my driving style the best, at least for now. So I'm definitely gonna keep it. That's not a secret. So I will continue driving the Beamer because it suits me the best. Yeah.
And obviously, will we see a return of you next season? Are you wanted to take that Pro-Am championship next time out?
Maybe. Obviously, that's going to be my goal for the next season. I will try to get it together in my head, because I've been making a lot of minor mistakes besides my unlucky moments. So that's the only thing I need to get together, because I think my pace is there.
Well, nonetheless, mate, you've been a fantastic competitor once again. We have missed you over the years, obviously with no PS5 for a while, but it's nice to have you finally back on the grid. And
thanks.
And it's been awesome to watch you all season. Looking forward to you next season.
It was a very nice season, and I definitely plan to keep on going.
Thank you very much, mate. As we now move to Sam, who's third in the championship. Sam, obviously the big thing as well for yourself. I'm a bit upset there's no Fandango with us either, but you are Constructors Champions with Fandango. How does that feel, especially in the Lexus? I bet that thing was a bit of a handful for majority of the season.
Yeah, I think handful's an understatement, Dan, to be fair. Don't get me wrong, some of the tracks it was amazing. If I could just race Monza every week, that would be brilliant. Unfortunately, that's not how it works here, and the last few rounds in particular, the car is absolutely awful. I really don't know how I got it to the end today. I had exactly the same issues as Varga. Tried the don't change tyres tactic, and my left rear was 25-1 at the end. It was absolutely awful. But it's been a really good season for me and Bex. He started the season strongly. I improved quite a lot in the car at the end and had some good results, pretty much best of the rest for the last few races, which was good. And we really worked as a team. We worked on the setups together. We worked on strategy together. It was a brilliant bit of teamwork, to be fair. It was actually a bit of a shame, to be honest, that Our nearest rivals fell away at the end because it was quite tight at one point. It felt like it was going to go right down to the wire.
Yeah, sadly, no gas, no glory. Ended up both drivers pulling out towards the end of the season, so you didn't really have that a threat from them in the end. But obviously, by the looks of things, just purely on pace, it looks like obviously Langley and Vitus will be probably moving up into the pro category, which could then open the door for an opportunity for yourself, Varga, and like I said, maybe Wolfski and a few others as well to go for the title. Is that the goal next season? Obviously, the first team, I think, as well, to possibly come back and defend the constructors in Pro-Am. Is that the goal next season, defend the constructors and possibly go for the drivers?
Yeah, absolutely. To be fair, I think there's a little group of us now. We are so close on pace. Varga just said it there. I mean, Varga and Wolski were both in front of me for the first quarter of the race. They both made mistakes, but I didn't have their pace. I just had a bit of consistency that they didn't quite have. But across the season, both of those two guys, on occasion, Saunders and a few others, Gary Leach in the last couple of races in the Porsche has been absolutely superb. You saw it last week. There was three of us we had 0.8 seconds between the three of us going over the line with one lap to go, and we literally were nose to tail for 70 minutes. It's really good racing. It's clean. It's really close. I think next season, if we all stay in this category, it's going to be an absolute stonker. To be fair, Dan. Obviously, some people might change cars. That might change things up, and we don't know what the racing is going to be like. I think this 70-minute races has suited me quite well. Consistency's good. I can usually get a set of tyres through 70 minutes where some of the other guys are not able to do that. But I'm sure it's going to be really close and should be a great championship if we stay in Pro-Am.
The big question is, stick in Lexus?
Probably not. We are likely to get in the Aston, but we'll do some testing off season. We'll see what goes on. We'll also see what the track choices look like for next season. This has been great on some tracks, but absolutely painful on others. Personally, I love it, to be fair, but me and Bex will get our heads together, work out what we're going to do. I'm not sure there's too much love for the Lexus in this team, mate, to be honest. Even though it's taken us to the title, it's hard work.
Well, if you've got a couple of Lexus going cheap, you know where to send them. I'll happily take them off your hands. I might need one for next season. Yeah, a bit of teacup won't do it any harm, you know. But nonetheless,
I had a car on my bonnet in race one. I'll try and clip it and put it in the Discord chat. But at one stage, I actually had a car that literally drove over the front of this Lexus. I think it gave me a bit more aerodynamicism for the next race.
Nonetheless, mate, fantastic season. Well done on third in the championship, but more importantly, congratulations to yourself and Borobex for the Constructors' Championship as well. Well done on that one.
Brilliant. Cheers, Dan.
And now we move on to the man himself. The man from America, the youngster, the Ferrari driver from Quantum Motorsport. Gray Langley, you are this season's Pro-Am champion. How's that feel, mate?
I mean, if you would have told me that at the beginning of the season, I'd say you're crazy. Coming in from, or starting one race last season and not even being able to keep the car on track really, and going into this year, just feeling like, hey, I feel like I can keep the car on track, and so let me try to race, and putting in the time, practice each week, being picked up by Quantum and the SimPlay stable mid-season, I couldn't be happier. I lost for words, really. All the people that are around me for this, all the people that supported me through this, that helped me keep a level head. I can't put it into words, really. And just to see the growth as a driver that I've made throughout the season, just improving round after round, trying to push myself to catch the top guys in pro even, and I'll have a chance to showcase that next season, and I'm happy for that. But um, I'm really happy how I grew in terms of situational driving as well. I tried to pick my battles wisely. Uh, and yeah, thank you to everyone in the SimPlay stable. Thank you to Caitlin, girlfriend, watching, supporting me all the way. Thank you to my friends, Tanner Kneebone, also in the SimPlay stable. Chase, if you're watching, and anyone else that knows me. Like I said, everyone in the SimPlay stable, they picked me up mid-season and helped unlock my pace that I didn't really know I had myself. I mean, I was confident in being consistent, but the pace that I've been able to unlock ever since I've been with them, and GT4s all season and improving in GT4s and moving up the pack there. It's been a wonderful rookie season. I guess you could consider last season rookie season, but not really. But I guess for a full season, this is. And yeah, it's been a great year, even with the frustrating server issues and game issues and all that. And I mean, I got to shout out Sam, Vitas, Benny Varga. Had some great battles with them this season, and it's been really fun. And thank you, Dan, for commentating Pro-Am this season. It's been a pleasure to watch back and see the battles that I was in, and you provide some cracking commentating.
Thank you for the kind words, mate. And it's a pleasure in everything that we do here at SimPlay, and yeah, it's been an honor commentating on yourself, Vitas, and Sam. The season has been chaotic. It's been probably the most annoying season for us to commentate because of just the server problems and issues. But either way, mate, you are a worthy champion, and obviously enjoy it for the moment. Enjoy it for the next couple of weeks before, obviously, yourself and Vitas will be then going up into the pro category. Talk about that challenge. Obviously, like I said, you're just going to enjoy this moment, but the Pro-Am is one thing, but the pros is another big step. We've seen the likes of Richie go up into the pros. We've seen a few others as well, the likes of Ramsell, Millington, and stuff like that go up into the pro category. John Goudet, and it's really been a struggle for them. What's your mindset going into there, and what is the plans for them for going into the pros?
I don't have anything else to prove. I know I'm too fast for Pro-Am, and I mean that in the kindest way possible. I know that, so I know that I don't have to. I don't feel pressure to prove myself, if that makes sense. Racing's gonna happen. There's not as many incidents when you're at the front, obviously. But racing's gonna happen. Obviously, pros, you gotta get your elbows out a little more. You gotta stand your ground. But still, having the people around me that I've had around me all this season, I know it's gonna help me, and I know that they're gonna help me get my mind in the right place at the right time when I need to perform on track. Hard weeks are gonna happen. Good weeks are gonna happen. It's about not getting too high on the highs and not too low on the lows. So. It's not over till it's over. Even 4 or 5 minutes left tonight. I mean, the only thing in my mind was Spain from this season, because that was the only thing that could take it away from me. But I crossed the line, and it's all over. But also, pro is more cutthroat. You can't make as many mistakes. Like tonight, I had the strategy to do no tires, but the flow punctures were getting too bad for me. My tires were already in the 25s when I decided to switch strategy, and the curbs are quite probably the worst I've had all season. Going from Valencia, which is smooth basically, to this track, and that fast chicane in the third sector as well, it just kills those right side tires on the front and rear. So can't have that happen next season. I'll definitely be out of it. I'm excited to race everyone in Pro next season. I know all of them quite well already, including Vitas. I know he'll be there. So yeah, it was. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better rookie season, and it's been amazing. And again, everyone in the SimPlay stable, Quantum, Audio Sport, SimPlay Racing, and all my teammates within there, thank you again. Thank you for picking me up, for seeing what I had in the first few rounds, and unlocking my potential. Thank you.
Well done. Great. You are this season's a Pro-Am champion. Ladies and gentlemen, Gray Langley is your Season 8 champion, and 4Q Motorsport are your Constructors champion this season. That is it for the Pro-Ams. It has been an exciting night's worth of racing. We have crowned 2 new champions, Langley and 4Q Motorsport. They'll go up into the Pros Championship, and speaking of the Pros, it is down to 2 drivers. Technically 3, but let's be honest, I'm not really in it anyway. But down to 2, it is between Ben Rook, a rookie himself. Last season, he really did take on as a learning role last season. He's now into the position of really going for the title, but he has got to take down the Titanic driver. That is Kieran O'Reilly, who is your 2 times GT4 champion. Can he finally get the GT3 champion? Either way, we're going to be crowning a new champion in Pro. Team Audio Sport have wrapped up the championship. They have taken the title in Pro. They've now done it in Pro-Am. They've now done it in Pro. Who is going to take the title? It's between Rook and O'Reilly. It is going to be Titanic. That's going to be Davis and Duffin bringing you all the action. I've been Dan Davis. This has been Pro-Am. This has been an epic season, and we will see you all tomorrow night for the final race of the season. Donington's been a pleasure, and it's been a great night's worth of racing. We'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.